Just when the Formula One world thought it had seen the last of Sebastian Vettel in any serious role, a surprising development is stirring things up. But no, he's not coming back to sit behind the wheel again. Instead, what's catching everyone off guard is the buzz around him possibly stepping into a powerful leadership position within Red Bull Racing, the same team where he once carved his name into history by clinching 4 consecutive world titles. The conversation going around suggests that Vettel could soon take over the position currently held by Marko, the man who's been the backbone of Red Bull's young driver program for years. The twist? Red Bull's internal tensions have created cracks in their foundation, and they might be preparing for a major shift in leadership. There's no denying the impact Marko has had on Red Bull. He has a sharp eye for upcoming talent, and many of today's biggest names owe their first shot in F1 to his decisions. But time doesn't wait for anyone. At 80 years old, Marko appears to be reconsidering his long-standing role. And from what we're hearing, the person he personally considers a strong fit to carry forward the project is none other than Sebastian Vettel. What's fueling this speculation even more is Vettel's recent action. He completed a 4-day course at Harvard focused on preparing agents and sports managers. Some critics mocked the short length of the course, but it sent a loud and clear message. Vettel is taking the business side of racing seriously now. Within the Red Bull camp, the atmosphere hasn't been the same since the internal fallout. High-profile figures have left the team and moved to rivals like McLaren and Aston Martin. The internal divide between the Austrian and Thai sides of Red Bull's ownership has caused enough damage that some believe fresh leadership is the only way forward. And, now, with Vettel quietly positioning himself for a return, though in a very different capacity, it's looking more likely that Red Bull might lean on one of their own former champions to reset the tone from the inside out. From the outside, it might look like a smooth transition, Vettel stepping in, Marko stepping down. But the real question is, what kind of impact would this change actually have on Red Bull's junior program? That's where things start to get interesting. If Vettel does take over, one of the biggest differences would be how young talent is treated and guided. Red Bull has always been known for giving promising drivers a chance, but they've also gained a reputation for being quick to pull the plug. The pressure inside the team can be brutal. Take Liam Lawson, for example. He was handed just 2 races to prove himself. Those races, by the way, were on tracks he had never even raced on before. Still, in just 3 qualifying sessions, he managed to reach P8 in 1 sprint race, something that should have earned him a longer shot. But instead, he was moved aside before he had a real chance to show consistency. Vettel's approach could be much more balanced. Having been through the highs and lows of F1 himself, he knows how important confidence and support are for a young driver's career. And it's not just about what happens on the track. Vettel has shown a genuine interest in the personal growth of athletes, especially young racers. He's already mentoring go-kart drivers in Saudi Arabia and is a strong supporter of involving more women in motorsport. His efforts speak volumes about the kind of leader he could be, someone who sees the bigger picture. Even more impressive is how Vettel used his platform during his F1 career. He spoke openly about climate change, environmental responsibility, and even the decline in bee populations. He didn't just talk, he acted. That kind of awareness and moral clarity is rare in a sport that often avoids controversy. So if Red Bull decides to hand over the reins to him, the shift won't just be about racing. It could bring a cultural reset to a team that's been under scrutiny for its internal politics and cutthroat management. Marko himself seems to recognize this. He's openly stated that Vettel knows what he wants, and that racing remains a priority for him. Though there haven't been official talks yet, it's clear the possibility is more than just a rumor. When you compare Vettel's way of thinking to that of Marko, the contrast becomes even sharper. For years, Red Bull's environment has been seen as intense, some might even say unforgiving. Drivers are under constant pressure to perform, and the tolerance for mistakes is extremely low. This rigid atmosphere might have helped develop stars like Max Verstappen, but it also pushed others out before they had a real chance. Sebastian Vettel brings something entirely different to the table. His mindset is shaped not just by winning titles, but by understanding what it takes to stay consistent over the long run. He values patience, mental health, and building up a driver instead of tearing them down after one poor weekend. One example that shows this perfectly is how Helmut Marko once criticized Lando Norris for openly discussing his mental struggles. On the flip side, Vettel praised Norris for his honesty, saying that this kind of transparency could make him stronger, and even inspire others on the grid. This difference in how they view drivers as people, not just performers, could be a game-changer for Red Bull. With Vettel potentially leading the junior program, the team could finally shift from a pressure-heavy environment to one that supports development in a more thoughtful way. We also need to consider the long-standing internal problems within the team. Much of the current tension goes back to the divide between the Austrian leadership and the Thai investors. This power struggle has created instability at the top, and many believe that a respected figure like Vettel could help stabilize the situation. His relationship with team leadership could be the key. It's also worth mentioning that Vettel has something many young drivers can relate to: a voice that carries weight, not because it's loud, but because it's grounded in experience and credibility. That matters in a team where confidence can make or break a career. Red Bull has lost talents before by being too impatient. If someone like Vettel takes charge, that cycle might finally end. One can't talk about Red Bull's issues without bringing up the second seat next to Verstappen. That position has almost become a revolving door. No one seems to last. Since Daniel Ricciardo's exit, Red Bull has struggled to find a proper partner for Max. It's not just about raw speed, it's about chemistry, pressure management, and long-term development. Pierre Gasly lasted only 13 races before being replaced. Alex Albon got slightly more time but still couldn't make it through 2 full seasons. Both of them, interestingly, have gone on to do well at other teams. Gasly at Alpine and Albon at Williams. This shows something important. Just because a driver doesn't shine at Red Bull doesn't mean they're not talented. It suggests the problem might lie more with how the team supports its drivers rather than the drivers themselves. And this is exactly where someone like Vettel could make a real difference. He understands that every racer is different. Some need time, some need trust, and some simply need the space to fail before they succeed. That kind of awareness is rare in Formula One, especially in a team as aggressive and performance-focused as Red Bull. With Vettel at the helm of the junior program, we could see a more tailored approach, one that doesn't just churn out racers but actually nurtures them. There's a lot at stake here. Red Bull has invested years in building its youth academy. It's not just a talent pipeline, it's part of their identity. Letting potential go to waste is not just unfortunate, it's bad strategy. If Vettel is given that responsibility, he's stepping into a job that requires more than just experience. It requires empathy, foresight, and stability. Helmut Marko may have played a huge role in bringing young stars into Formula One, but at 80, even he admits it's time to look at who can carry that legacy forward, and according to him, Vettel fits that role better than anyone else. Looking ahead, there's another major element to consider: the upcoming regulation changes in 2026. These changes could shake up the competitive order completely. Mercedes and Ferrari are both known for building strong engines, and they'll likely take full advantage of the reset. For Red Bull, this could be the beginning of a new phase. If they're no longer dominating the way they are now, they'll need more than just one star driver. They'll need balance, depth, and a stronger team dynamic. And this is exactly where Sebastian Vettel's influence could be crucial. His leadership might help shape a more stable, performance-ready driver lineup that doesn't rely on a single standout but instead operates like a true team. With Max Verstappen's future still uncertain, especially after his strong bond with Marko, any shift in management could impact the entire driver setup. When rumors began about Marko's potential exit, Verstappen didn't hold back. He made it clear that if Red Bull lets Marko go, they might lose him too. It was a firm message, not an empty threat. But even if that happens, having someone like Vettel in place could ease the transition. His relationship with the rest of the team, especially with senior leadership, is based on mutual respect. Unlike the tension between Christian Horner and Marko, Vettel's potential partnership with Red Bull's top brass could lead to more unity behind the scenes. That unity might be what Red Bull needs to rebuild, not just its driver lineup, but its entire culture. In the end, Vettel's return wouldn't be about reliving old glories or chasing headlines. It would be about fixing what's broken, supporting young talent, and setting a new standard for how the team operates. He's not just a four-time world champion. He's someone who understands what winning truly requires. And this time, he'd be doing it not from behind the wheel, but from the command center. Only time will tell how things unfold. But one thing's for sure. If Red Bull decides to hand over the reins to Sebastian Vettel, it could mark the beginning of a smarter, stronger era for the team.